Public servants using funds for home renos. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I've got my morning stein of coffee, and I thought we'd have a look at this article from IT News, because, well, it's quite an interesting one, discussing the Australian Federal Police freezing $7.8 million linked to the Finance Department for IT fraud. So a trio are alleged to have used funds for renovations. 3 public servants alleged to have defrauded the federal government by directing IT contracts through preferred suppliers have had $7.8 million in assets frozen. There you go. $7.8 million. It must be good being in the public servant, hey? Let's just bring up this other chart here, looking at comparing wage growth in the public service to the private sector. Have you ever encountered this, where public servants have wanted a kickback, where it's always just a group of particular suppliers? The building education revolution, remember that? Kevin Rudd's huge amount of spending in our education sector, which has led to absolutely no improvements in our quality of education, but apparently saved us just with a little help from China importing all of our products, saved us from the GFC. That apparently went through a few big builders, and the money, the waste. The Australian Federal Police on Wednesday said 7 houses, as well as motor vehicles, bank accounts, had been restrained by the Criminal Asset Confiscation Task Force. 3 men were arrested and charged last month for allegedly directing IT contracts through preferred suppliers and taking kickbacks. Well, these poor public servants, it's not like they don't have infinite job security. They've got perks that people in the private sector have no understanding of. Seriously, unless you've done a stint in one of these places, you've got no idea what it's like. When I got out of university, I worked for the Architectural Practice Academy. We were an independent, semi-independent, it was a bit of a joke, practice attached to the Department of Public Works. And I remember it was a real big shock to me, because I'd never worked in such a unionized environment in the public sector. I'd always worked in private. And I'd worked as a student all the way through my course at QT. You did that. You have 1 day at uni and 4 days at work. So I had just a different work ethic than some of the people there. The arrest followed a year-long investigation by the AFP's Northern Command Fraud and Anti-Corruption Team, which was first alerted to the activity by the Department of Finance in July 2019. 2 of the men, a 47-year-old Griffith man and a 50-year-old Palmerston man, have been charged with 2 offences: conspiracy to defraud the Commonwealth and abuse of public office. Well, couldn't pretty much every politician be charged with abuse of public office? Maybe all the politicians who are arguing for increasing the GST. You know what we need, everyone? We need another Western Australian potato board to regulate the IT industry. That's what we need. I'm sure. You can see here, public servants, there's no risk of them being corrupt. This is why the bigger a government, the worse it is, everyone. This is just another risk. The third man, a 36-year-old Barton man, has been charged with conspiracy to defraud the Commonwealth. Defrauding the Commonwealth carries a maximum sentence of 10 years jail, while the charge of abuse of office carries a maximum penalty of 5 years. According to the ABC, the 3 men were released on bail under strict conditions, including an agreement to pay $25,000 if they failed to appear in court, after facing the ACT Magistrates Court in Canberra for the first time last month. In a statement on Wednesday, the AFP said the $7.8 million in assets had been restrained, as some of the kickbacks had allegedly been used to purchase and renovate residential properties in Canberra. Oh, well, maybe we can see why Canberra property prices are doing so well, everyone. We're doing the wrong thing, aren't we? The CAC will allege the men conspired to direct IT contracts through preferred suppliers and then received financial benefits as a result of this activity, some of which was then used to purchase and renovate residential properties in Canberra, it said. The CAC includes staff from the Australian Criminal Intelligence Commission, AUSTRAC, the Australian Taxation Office, and the Australian Border Force. What do you think, everyone? What do you think? Let's have a look at what the ABC's take on this was, because they've got some good pictures in here of the houses. So the AFP freezes millions in assets of public servants accused of conspiring to defraud the government. The AFP have frozen 7.8 million in assets linked to 3 Canberra federal public servants accused of taking kickbacks to avoid government contracts. Well, here you go. I mean, this is the one piece of advice that you always get during a recession. Particularly a lot of the architects are saying, "Oh, you've got to get government work, get on the list of government work." And I think I've only encountered once where someone asked me if I was getting a kickback. This was for actually a body corporate job, and the guy who asked it was a bit dodgy. I was taken aback, because under the Architects Act, that's illegal by itself. Several homes were frozen by police who alleged the trio were using their gains to buy and renovate homes in Canberra. So this is how you get in the public into the housing market, guys. All these young guys, this is what you got to do. You got to get into the public service, then you got to get control of contracts, award them, and get kickbacks. It's how you get into housing. Police arrested Abdul Al-Debel, 47. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. Villayur, 50, and Reminder Kolan, 36, last month after a year-long investigation by fraud and anti-corruption investigators sparked by a financial department report to police. It is alleged over a 2-year period the men used their inside knowledge to influence IC contracts at the department, receiving financial rewards for their efforts. Mr. Al-Debel and Mr. Villayur were both charged in the ACT magistrate courts with conspiring to defraud the Commonwealth and abuse of public office. Mr. Kalon was charged with conspiracy. Today, the AFP officers and their Criminal Assets Confiscation Task Force had frozen assets, including bank accounts, 7 homes, several vehicles worth an estimated $7.8 million. I mean, there you go. It's rewarding being in the public service, guys. It's $7.8 million. In a statement, the AFP said they had frozen properties in the Canberra suburb of Griffin, Barton, Palmerston, Narrabindra that were linked to the men. I mean, there's a nice house. There's a nice house. The CAC will allege the men conspired to directly inform technology contractors through to direct information technology contracts through preferred suppliers and then receive financial benefits as a result of this activity, some of which was then used to purchase and renovate properties in Canberra. The action follows the 10th of June 2020 arrest of 3 men charged with conspiracy to defraud the Australian government while working for an Australian public service agency in Canberra. Wow, public servants potentially. I can't say I'm surprised. This is a risk of the bigger the government that you have. I mean, think about it. This is where your tax dollars are going, everyone. Maybe it's not true. It's alleged. They're just putting a case to it. We'll have to see. We will have to see what happens. I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping it's not. The trio are currently released on bail under strict conditions, including an agreement to pay $25,000 if they fail to appear in court, to not contact each other, and a ban on remotely connecting to the department or finance IT system. Police said the arrest came after a complex investigation which began after officers were alerted by the Department of Finance in July last year. The men are expected to reappear in court this month. And if we scroll up here, we can see, the key points. 3 public servants are accused of taking kickbacks to influence Department of Finance IT contracts. Police received $7.8 million in assets, several homes, bank accounts. Police allege the men were using the gains to buy and renovate homes in Canberra. Well, at least they were helping the local construction industry, guys. They were propping it up. This is just their way of stimulating construction. They were just avoiding. Think about this. What they're doing is no different to Homebuilder. Because they're getting a kickback, from the government. Sure, maybe the tender, I'm not saying this happened, but let's just pretend. The tender was inflated by $25,000 and they got the $25,000. They did a renovation. They spent more. How's that different from what the government's doing with Homebuilder. They're just getting rid of the middleman. They're making it more efficient. What do you think, everyone? Does this instill you with faith in our public service? Should we grow it even bigger to create more opportunities? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us via using our affiliate links at Amazon or eBay or Independent Reserve and Kucoin. You can buy our merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next time.